Hi, I'm Kristin Omdahl, and thank you for joining me again for another chapter reading of my novel, The Sea Glass Journal. In this episode, I will be reading chapter 7 to you. If you are just getting started, welcome. Please follow the link in the video description to start at chapter 1 so you can get caught up in the story. And please join me every Sunday evening for a new chapter reading of The Sea Glass Journal. Let's get started. Chapter 7. The law office smelled faintly of lemon polish and sea air. I stepped into the cool, light-filled reception area and was greeted by a woman with silver-rimmed glasses and a kind smile. "Miss Wilder?" "Yes." "Right this way. Miss Klein is expecting you." I followed her down a short hallway, the soft click of my sandals the only sound against the hardwood floors. I was ushered into a sunlit office where Miriam Klein stood to greet me. Miriam was poised and elegant, dressed in a pale linen suit. Her handshake was firm but warm. "Thank you for coming, Miss Wilder. Would you care for something to drink?" "A glass of water would be lovely, thank you." Moments later, I sat across from her with a glass of water in hand. Miriam took her seat behind a polished wooden desk, where a single thick leather portfolio waited at the center, its worn spine and colored tabs marking sections throughout. No theatrics, no dramatic pause. She opened the folder. "Evelyn Moore passed 3 weeks ago. You were named specifically in her will." "Specifically?" I repeated. Miriam nodded. "The property at 122 Ebbing Way, a cottage in Cypress Key. The house, its contents, and the small adjoining parcel. There are no liens, no shared claims." I waited for the rest. "There's no conditions?" I asked. "No," she said evenly. "The transfer is straightforward." Straightforward. The word felt unfamiliar. She turned the folder toward me. "A preliminary copy of the deed and summary documents are enclosed for your review," she said. The deed lay clipped to the inside, my name printed nearly beneath Evelyn's. I read it once, then again. The paper didn't shift, the ink didn't fade. A house. I had rented for so long, I'd stopped imagining ownership as something tangible. "In addition to the property, Miss Wilder shall receive any personal correspondence, journals, and effects stored within. These items are to remain unopened by any third party prior to her arrival. A preliminary copy of the deed and summary documents are enclosed for your review." She flipped the page in her binder, lifted out a thick envelope, then slid it across the desk. I stared at it. "I don't understand. Why me?" Miriam offered a small smile. "There is also a personal letter, handwritten by Evelyn, which may help clarify her intentions. She revised this portion more than once. She wanted to be certain." She slid a second envelope across the desk. My name was written in careful script. I unfolded the letter. "My dear Tess, you may find this unexpected. That is fair. I did not know you well, but I knew your voice. It filled this house on evenings when the quiet grew too large. You spoke about building something from nothing, about beginning again. I meant to do that here. When I bought this cottage, I told myself it would be a beginning. Instead, I let it become a place of postponement. I mistook solitude for safety. I told myself I would forgive certain mistakes when the timing felt right. The timing never did. The house deserves to be lived in, not waited in. What you choose to do with it is entirely yours. With sincerity, Evelyn." "Take your time. You're welcome to visit the property before making any decisions. Even stay overnight if you need to get a feel for the place," Miriam said. I stared at the letter, my fingers tightening against the paper. I lowered the page slowly. No promises, no instructions, no bright future tied up with ribbon, just a confession. "She listened to my podcast?" I asked. Miriam inclined her head. "Often." The idea unsettled me more than it comforted me. Miriam reached into her desk drawer and placed a key on the blotter between us. It was plain, slightly scratched, the kind of key you would lose in the bottom of a purse without noticing. "This is yours," she said. "Mine." For a second, something younger in me flickered, quick and bright. I pressed it down before it could spread. Good things, in my experience, came with footnotes. I turned the key over once in my fingers. How could something so ordinary carry this much weight? I slipped it into my purse. "Is it far?" I asked. 10 minutes, Miriam said, "if you take the main road and turn at the old marina sign." 10 minutes. Close enough to see. I stood, the folder tucked under my arm. "Thank you," I said. Outside, the air felt thicker than before, the light brighter, the street slower. I didn't check the map twice. I didn't sit in the car weighing possibilities. I started the engine and followed Miriam's directions without thinking. I wasn't hopeful. I wasn't afraid. I just needed to see it. I hope you enjoyed Chapter 7. Please join me every Sunday evening for another full chapter reading from the Sea Glass Journal. And if you can't wait and you want to jump ahead, there's also a link to start reading the paperback or ebook now.